Okay, so in theory, a year ago, the Trump administration ended their policy of family separation at the border. I wanted to keep close track of that because I think it's an incredibly important issue. I failed. So over the last few days, I tried to read as much as I could about what took place, what the current situation is. The long and the short of it is, I think we, and I say we because it's our responsibility, we, the United States government, did something incredibly immoral, both in intent and in execution. We removed children from their parents with the hope that it would be so bad that other people would not want to follow them. We then executed it in such a way that we could not possibly care for the number of children that were separated, and that we could not properly track them so that they would be efficiently returned and reunified with their parents, with their families. That's kind of weird language to use. And I don't just say this. This is from an IG report. So the Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services in January released a report. And basically they said that, that we admit that 2,700 children or more were taken away from their families under the zero tolerance policy, most of whom were returned. But actually, family separation started before that, and there are thousands possibly. That's what they say, that possibly thousands of children who are separated from their family, who haven't been identified, and they think may take 1 to 2 years to identify and possibly return. And now it's been so long that our government is saying it might be detrimental to the children to remove them from their current placement and return them to our parents. We're arguing that we shouldn't return these kids to their parents. So that's what this administration admits. That's what we did. So please read the blog post. I go into the IG general report. Link it. I try and talk about the numbers, what they were then, what they are currently, what the current situation is, because the current situation is separate and related and still bad, but in different ways. I talk about why and how the family separation policy happened, that it was purposeful, that it wasn't new with this administration, and their own language and words about it. And I link all of that in the blog post. As always, I try and say what to do. Well, I think it's important. Call your congressperson, call your senators, email them, fax them, old school, anything you can to say that we need you to represent our values, and we need to have a plan. There's no clear plan from the administration or from Congress to deal with issues at the border. Just weird opinions of mine. We do have the military currently at the border. I was looking at the public information about who's deployed down there currently. I think we should send different units or more of the units. We do have a few medical units. We do have a few engineering units. But we need more. We need more engineering units. If we're overwhelmed with the numbers currently, let's have vertical engineering units to build temporary housing, to make sure there's potable water and proper sanitation. We need medical units. We've now had 7 possible, 5 reported, 7 possible children die in border control custody, partly because they're just overwhelmed and don't have a place to send the children or ways to take care of the children. So the military can be an amazing force for good in the world. So let's use them in the proper way. Now, just strange rant of mine. I oftentimes come back to the theme of peace versus security. I think one of the questions that we have is we're pursuing security, and many people think peace and security are synonymous, but in practice we don't treat them the same, even though sometimes we use the words in similar ways. Security is one-sided. Security is about borders and fences and who's in and who's out. Security is one-sided. It oftentimes doesn't care about justice. It's about retribution, and it's about the safety of one side and the disregard of the other. Peace, on the other hand, is always risky, but peace, first and foremost, is about right relationship. It is about justice. Peace cannot be pursued alone. It has to be done with all of the parties. What we should be doing is pursuing peace with our neighbors, not security from our neighbors. So that's the rant. read the post, please. Go from there.